Babylon Bee's releasing an interview show. Oh my gosh, it's so incredible.
Tight.
So cool.
Cool.
So we talked to the funniest people on the planet, and today we're talking to a woman, and she's actually funny.
An actually funny woman?
An actually funny woman. A female, a human female who tells jokes, and they're funny, and they're not about periods. I don't think.
Maybe. She probably
has some.
Yeah, we don't want to.
That's just like bread and butter. That's like us and pronoun jokes.
Yeah.
For females, it's like.
Yeah.
I like how I say females, like I've never met one.
Females. I've heard of woman.
It's very neckbeard.
Very neckbeard.
See, the problem with females.
Not helping all the people that call us incels on the comment section.
Yeah, but see, I'm leaning into it. I'm leaning into the character. They already think it. Anyway, so Kerri Pomarolli wrote a book called Confessions of a Proverbs 32 Woman. It's been featured on the Babylon Bee website before. Yeah. And we found out she lives relatively close, so we brought her in to tell jokes and be funny.
In person. She's a comedian. She's been on The Tonight Show like almost 30 times. She's done a lot of stand-up. And she's been on soap operas.
She acted in soap operas.
Yeah.
In General Hospital.
And she's met Carmen.
And she's met Carmen. Well, spoiler. But in the subscriber portion, we find out all the dirty secrets of Carmen.
Do we?
Well.
Yeah.
We find out some dirty secrets. There was some stuff that she was like,
I don't know if that was recorded or not. I can't remember. We'll find out. Our memory.
We tried to have a hot mic going.
That's how that started.
So
and then now they can drink coffee now.
Mormons can?
Yeah.
Kellen Erskine doesn't drink coffee when he comes here.
It's true.
But I had a very long Uber ride from the Mormon Comedy Club back to my hotel with a Mormon driver who tried to convert me for 47 minutes. And it was 47 minutes to explain their religion. I was like, let me get this straight. There's good heaven, meteor heaven, bad heaven.
But I don't feel like they tell you that on the first time.
Well, the Uber drivers do. Shoot.
Well, they get that much
bad heaven. You go to heaven, but it's bad heaven.
The Uber driver's like, all right. And then at the end of the cab ride, I go, what if I have different belief? He goes, someday when you're face to face with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, I hope you remember this conversation. I was like, look, Gavin, someday when you're face to face with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, I hope you remember this conversation.
I always wonder if that's the first thing we're going to do. It's like, ha, I was right.
I hope those are my words.
Will they be on the other side of the gate? Or they'll be laughing at us in bad heaven? Ah, man, they're in...
I really want to know about this bad heaven. Is it like Dave and Buster's or what?
Yeah, can you feel badness?
And if you're a woman, you're not allowed to go to heaven unless a man
the best
stands
heaven.
in for you.
The
good
best
heaven. Yeah.
Oh, so you can get into bad heaven as a woman?
There's 3 heavens, right?
Bad heaven is like
3.
Bad heaven is like Earth now, probably.
It's like Earth now. But you can't die.
Look, there's still dishes.
Which would be awesome. It's like Grand Theft Auto. What is?
I got 5 stars, baby.
Woo! Like I can jump off this building, or can you die?
Well, you can die in Grand Theft Auto.
We need a Mormon.
So it's
scholar.
like Grand Theft Auto with God mode.
First of all, you need more women. You need more women. You need more Mormons. Okay, I'm going to say that on record. January 2021.
We need a Mormon writing staff.
I'm putting it out there before you guys get scandalized for not having
Mormons
enough
can answer these questions
estrogen.
in the comments.
Estrogen and Mormons.
You just triggered a flurry of hate mail.
I know.
Thanks a lot. I'll be answering this for days.
I just like, are we on the boat? Well,
We're
you can
recording.
edit this out. Hopefully.
Yeah,
I think we started
Like,
recording.
I've wanted to be a part of the Babylon Bee, so this is a grand step for women. Even though you've had women.
All right, give us your 5 best Babylon Bee headlines. Go.
Oh, you guys don't put me on
This is your audition.
You know what?
I think I meant her favorites.
No, your best. Yeah. Give us your best pitches. This is an audition.
I can't, Kyle, because I'm too expensive. I'm serious.
That's something I was gonna say. Like, whenever somebody's actually a professional comedian asks me, like, "How do I get writing?" Well, we pay, so you know.
You know what?
We pay a guy from the works at a fast food restaurant and does this on the side kind of pay, not like.
Well, and Kyle, I have to confess, I've never even heard of you. I just say that to all my podcasts. My favorite is How to Escape a Prayer Circle. You request prayer for rare hand-holding skin disease. That's my number one. I don't know. It just came to me.
You can't just look at the
It's like
wall.
the Lord. And there's a picture of Trump, but he looks like a prophet. I don't know. It's weird. There's just so many. And when you guys use Kirk Cameron and Gary Busey in the same,
like that.
One of the best moments of my life is when we had Kevin Sorbo on the podcast.
Nice.
And it's like we literally have Kevin Sorbo as Salty.
Have
the
you
songbook
Have you
on
ever
the
done anything with Jim Baker? Because I have a really good Jim Baker story.
We have.
Like jokes about him?
No, like a real story. Like I've done a show where we were acquaintances, but
Okay.
So he's in Christian Las Vegas, Branson, Missouri, and so I did his talk show when I was in Branson, Missouri. But he came to LA to visit some years ago, and he had never been to an IKEA. Okay, so he and his wife got really excited because, as we know, Jim likes to sell things to the people, like the bracelet of the Golden Streets of Heaven and like Doomsday Prepper kits. And we're better.
He had like some kind of COVID medicine.
Yeah,
came
so
with him.
we're better to get paraphernalia to sell to people, but IKEA. So he got super excited and bought all these picture frames, and people were looking in the parking lot as I was loading things into my trunk, and it looked like I was doing a drug deal with Jim Baker. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they were kind of like, why is this strange girl loading things? So a lot of his heavenly paraphernalia is actually IKEA.
He just buys stuff from IKEA and resells
Now he
it?
does, thanks to me.
Well, he was selling those giant
blessed.
buckets of nacho cheese.
Are you serious?
Did you ever see that?
That I would buy.
How do we know about this? I don't know about any of that.
I
He
have.
was selling it was the Doomsday Prepper stuff, and he goes on TV. He's like, and he takes the ladle and he goes, wow.
Eating nacho cheese with a ladle? And that's like the kind of stuff I would like
That's
to
the
do, but
kind
I
of
have to do it in secret.
Now, you guys with COVID, did any of you start eating your earthquake kits like back in April?
That's an earthquake.
I don't even think I have one anymore.
Oh yeah, like
When I was a kid, it was a huge deal. We gotta have the earthquake.
Okay,
kit in
this
the
is-
Ziploc bag.
I'm not from here.
so embarrassing.
I do not know your ways.
When I went to pick up my kids in March for the last day of school, they're like, Miss Pomarolli, we regret to inform you that Ruby ate her earthquake kit. And I was like, how bad that she had to have canned tuna? Like, what are you serving in the cafeteria that she broke out the stovetop stuffing, like uncooked? You know what I'm
It's like
talking
an
about?
MRE. It's like an MRE.
You were supposed to take a big Ziploc bag
Yes.
and pack for your kids at school, and the teacher would
Oh,
keep
it's
it in
at
the
school.
cupboard in case like the building fell down.
And Kyle,
Okay.
did you write a note? They told you to write a note.
yeah,
And it
there was my mom had a note in the like, if you're buried under rubble right now, I
we love you. Like, my note literally was like, sucks for you. Like, I was like, if you're in an earthquake, you're not reading this. Like, clearly.
Yeah, do you have lights?
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing. Like you're buried under rubble,
should be a
but you can
flashlight
get
in
to
the
the
kit.
earthquake kit. So.
But your mommy loves you. Just want to let you know. And by the way, soda doesn't stunt your growth. I just should tell her in the earthquake kit letter.
I think we might have gotten a letter from Jim Baker's lawyers about this article that we wrote about him.
Trump was merely sharing the gospel with that porn star, explains Jim Baker. Now,
They weren't a fan of that one.
you guys, when San Diego had closed their churches and kept the strip clubs open, I did a campaign that we need to be evangelizing in the strip clubs and having church in the strip clubs because the tithe would be in cash and that's tax deductible.
That's good, yeah.
And I think there's a lot of dance ministry that could be expanding our horizons as Christians if we would get out of our box, be so narrow-minded. Shaka Khan could be a new member.
I could see pole dancing worship bands.
I could see pole dancing worship bands on Babylon Bee for sure.
I bet if you Googled it, it's happened.
I'm sure it's happened.
If it hasn't,
I'm gonna Google it.
I feel that we could make a lot of money. We need to stop being in our box. There's definitely other places we need to evangelize. Starting
ABC
with
News says, Hallelujah, Christians pole dance for Jesus in Texas. A new class, Pole Fitness for Jesus, gets Christian women to spin without sin.
Oh, and Kyle, you didn't write that?
I did.
That's
Can
real.
we
I did.
steal
That's
it?
real. Yeah,
That's
I
real
guess
life.
That's amazing.
that's the real struggle, is trying to stay ahead of.
Yeah.
Do you
Reality.
ever write something and then found out that somebody else across the country had the same idea?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
all the time.
And then you win, right? You're like, well, mine's
We're-
more public.
Especially when we're trying to get ahead of a thing that just happened, and write the joke.
Well, that's the thing about Twitter is everybody can tell a joke immediately, but we kind of have to wait till the story's big, and then we prepare it with a Photoshop and the article, and so by the time we hit it, it's too late. So we got to Try to have a unique angle. It's hard.
I mean, I had a sketch that was stolen from my YouTube and put on the Tonight Show. And then I was working on the Tonight Show, not as a writer, as a performer. And I just was like, well, we're not going to climb that mountain. And I don't want to get fired. But writers would be searching YouTube. We did this thing called ebaby.com. And it's like, if you don't like your baby, you can go to ebaby.com and get a better one. And then years later, it resurfaced. And I got in trouble because the ebaby.com in my skit was Asian. Because we were like, we want an Asian baby. Now, my kids are half Asian, so I can say that. Okay. And they're like, she did our taxes and plays the violin. And the Moms Club wanted to vote me off because I posted this video on Moms Club. Like, it's really degrading to ethnic babies. It's really degrading to the children out there that have been adopted, And I was like, well, bye. So that was
you
my
have
last
that trump card ready with like I have half Asian babies.
I do. Well,
ready to go.
For sure. I always use that. Like, I married an Asian guy. I can drive any way I want.
Is that why you did that? So you could have the trump card?
I married them so they would be smart and go to college for free.
Well, that works.
And they're part.
But it's not working anymore.
Right?
And they're part Native American, so they're getting a casino as well. So we're excited about that. But though we did get Ancestry. I'm Italian, Pomarolli. We got Ancestry.com for my 81-year-old father, but we couldn't give it to him because we're not Italian like he thinks we are. We're Scandinavian, and he would have a seizure. Like, he would be freaking. We're like 11% Italian, but he's Tony Soprano. Those guys that think they're Italian.
He's really embraced.
He's a mafia.
No, we're Vikings, and it's not cool. It's not cool at all. So we had to rig it. We're like, Dad, you're 80% for sure. You're gonna die. A mob head.
So I find it fascinating. You're an outspoken Christian, or at least if anybody knows you're a Christian, but you've been on the Tonight Show almost 30 times.
Yeah.
So that you ever get any Christian? Hollywood's known for being kind of not.
Can I be honest with you?
So tell me about that.
I don't get that as much as I would get if I were to publicly say I am a conservative.
That's it.
Are you saying that right now?
Yeah, I am a conservative. And they shoot you with these illegal guns. And I don't know where they get the guns because we're not supposed to have them. But I've been, quote, a Christian on stage for a long time. And Comedy Central at one point we love that character, that ditzy, really stupid, airheady character. I was like, well, no, that's me. But they're like, it's so great how you brought the religion into it. I got a lot of backlash. I used to do stand-up comedy anywhere you would ask me. So I would do stand-up comedy anywhere.
Strip clubs?
Yes. The gay drag bars. Okay. And with the drag queens. And then I would have Christians being like, why are you there? And I was like, I'm not on the bar, Dora. Okay, I'm in the bar. So.
In the bar, not of the bar?
You know what? Christians. Exactly. Thank you. You guys just trumped me on that one. Christians have given me more slack through the years than non-Christians. I think non-Christians.
Slack or flack?
Oh, yeah. Oh, flack. Thank you.
Just checking.
I was a music major. I think non-Christians don't care because you're not bothering them. You're not infringing. Now, when I would do comedy at the drag bars and I'd be like, where are my Christians at tonight? And then all these guys would clap. I'm like, what are you guys doing here? Did you make a wrong turn? And some of the guys backstage would be like, well, I went to church, but they didn't want me. Or, they didn't want me. But you seem kind and you seem loving. So I felt like the ministry of what I do is backstage at a drag bar or backstage at a comedy club. So I never wanted to be in the bubble completely, even though it's easier there. It's more comfortable, but there's nothing like the adrenaline rush of being in a secular environment and making people laugh and being number comic 23 and they're wasted, drunk, and they don't care about your Christian fame or they haven't looked up your resume. You're just comic 23 and you have to go out and if I make them laugh, there's nothing better than that feeling. Not to say that I don't love my people.
But your Beth
if
Moore,
you're listening right now, I would love to do your retreat.
But I was going to say, your Beth Moore jokes probably don't kill in the strip club.
Yeah. And I have Beth Moore jokes that I want to tell. Well, it's not Beth Moore jokes. I just get obsessed with her because when you watch Beth Moore, people that are ADD like me, I can't focus on Beth Moore because her hair is too pretty and I just don't know if it's ever going to move. Do you know what I mean? And then like the nails are too perfect. So I get obsessed with, like physical details. And then she's like, and I said to God, I cannot handle it one more time. And then so in my head, I'm like, well, there's a Beth Moore impersonation. Where am I ever going to do that? Right? You know what I mean?
On the Babylon Bee podcast.
Yeah, yes, thank you. I said, Jesus, I cannot handle it one more time. Not one more time, Jesus, but I submitted. That's what I did.
I like to picture Beth Moore walking around hearing God and just like shouting at him all the time. And that's very strange.
No, I said not one more time. Yes. So yeah, I have a friend who's a very well-known impressionist, and she's so much better than I am. Her name's Angela Hoover. And so when I try to do impressions with her on the phone, she just politely laughs at me. And we do a lot of Housewives from the Housewives of New York or the Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm sure you haven't probably parodied them yet on Babylon Bee.
I don't even know that world at all.
Yeah, me
but you know who they are, right? They're the ladies that have the reality shows, like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
I've heard the name and I know nothing else beyond. I assume it's just a reality show about housewives.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah, but
are they rich?
They hate each other and they have cat fights and there's a lot of drama behind a lot of it. It's like a train wreck. It's like The Bachelorette. You can't watch, but you can't not watch.
So it's just like Women, the show.
And Kyle, tell me again how many women writers you have on the Babylon Bee at your last retreat. How many women writers? The percentage?
Well, okay. Our last retreat we had one woman.
Yes, and how many are actively writing for your?
I want to say the last article that was written by a woman was probably a few months ago.
Oh man, this is totally gonna get edited out. I'm losing.
That actually write articles.
Yeah.
We have some women, but
the problem is, yeah.
The problem is they're not funny.
Kyle,
that's the main thing.
Kyle, so what do women need to do, considering that I've made you laugh and counting 14 times since I started this podcast?
I gave you a chance to pitch headlines and you froze up. I mean,
I literally did. That's like, I had you know what? I've had those meetings.
Tough business.
I had, do you guys remember the actor Charles Durning? He was like an 80s. Mm-hmm. Do you get out much? Just wondering.
He was very sheltered as a child.
He's an Academy Award winner.
What is going on?
But I first moved to LA and there was this Pulitzer Prize winning novel. It was called The Pig Man. It was about like two teenage kids and I was up for the role. And I went to lunch. I swear, you just totally triggered me. So I went to lunch with Charles Durning, who was going to be the lead of the movie. Okay. And he said, "What was your favorite part of the script?" And I just went, blah, 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 like just...
I love the
Don't ask me
Dark Night of the Soul
questions.
moment.
Did the thing and
don't ask me pointed questions.
The beginning was good.
Yeah.
The beginning and the end, but really the middle was good too.
Because in theory, I mean, I like Babylon Bee, like the idea of it.
Right.
Thanks.
Like I don't know what it is, but I mean, I'm a fan.
Appreciate it.
But you wrote a review on my book, which was very funny. So that was my favorite Babylon Bee, November 15th, 2019.
Wow.
Thank you.
She remembers.
Proverbs 32.
Yeah. Oh, I just hit the mic really hard. Here's her book.
Oh my gosh, it's weird that I brought that up.
Confessions of a Proverbs 32 woman.
Yes, thank you.
Is there a Proverbs 32?
No. Well, there is
That's
now.
the joke.
It's in my Bible.
That's the joke.
I never could relate to Proverbs 31 because I was like, I don't rise early and I don't plow. And it said she gathers her food from afar. And I was like, that's Uber Eats. And so I've never fit into that mold. And I've been in the church world for so many years. And I don't crock pot or farm to table and, like dress my kids. It's like a lot of work. So I always would joke, there's got to be a Proverbs 32, like a hot mess for Jesus. There's got to be that extra. This is how my comic brain works. Like, don't you think there's always an extra person? Like, there was probably a disciple who sucked and he didn't get named. Do you know what I mean? Like Jerome. Like he was like a little chubby. He tried to walk on water. Jesus like, Jerome, get back in the boat. Like send Peter. You had so many fishes and loaves. So I'm always thinking outside the box. And it's always been a joke. Like, it's not gossip if your head is bowed, Proverbs 32. So I was making up these proverbs. I will submit to not going to work. And finally, a publisher said yes, that I could write this book because I said, there's so many books about how to be more holy, how to be more spiritual, and I never fit that mold, ever. And so they let me write it, and they let me write 2 books about it. One of them, my Devo, is called She Rises Late and Her Kids Make Her Breakfast, and it's a devotional.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, they're different books?
Yep, they're different books. And the cover of this book does look like a crime scene. So they did kind of go along.
Scratched out like a serial killer.
But yes, I thought it was either crayons or serial killer. And my people will know, they buy the book. So I sold some people down the river pretty bad in this book to the point where I had to get legal agreements because I wrote about the mean girls that were mean to me in high school and college.
You named them?
I tried. Apparently, legally, we can't do that. But I can on my Facebook.
You can do it right here and now.
But no, it was fun. It was fun.
Can you tell me about this photo shoot? You've got like a rolling pin and a...
Okay, can I tell you what was really in my hands during that photo shoot? I was sitting under the table, because it's Babylon Bee, I have freedom. I was sitting under the table as a mom with my kids on top of me, and I had an empty vodka bottle, and I was like a motherhood photo shoot, and like a baked ham in the other hand of can we take the label off the vodka bottle? I go, yeah, take the label off, because anybody who knows what vodka is knows that's not water, right? It's like a big Smirnoff. So we did a really fun mom photo shoot of being a bad mom, and so we had we got all this food, this beautiful table in China, and we let my kids have a food fight, and we just shot it. And so it was the 1950s mom. Mm-hmm. And then we did some really fun photos where we were in bed, my children and I all in bed together. One was reading People magazine, and one was on her iPad, and like one was reading the Bible, and it was like homeschool. I mean, that's really what's happening. So that's kind of where that came from.
Okay. So did they Photoshop out the vodka bottle?
Yes, they did. Yes.
So that's like not even your hand?
I don't even endorse vodka. I just thought it was funny. Yeah. I do a lot of things. Like my business card had that photo on it for a while, and then I had to get a second set of business cards because depending on who I meet, shall I hand them that card? Maybe not.
You sell essential oils ever on the side?
No, thank you for asking. But I have been wondering where my oils people are during COVID. Do you know what I mean? Because can't they cure COVID? Because they can cure everything else.
They haven't been. Yeah, they've been mysteriously silent on the subject of COVID.
They're always like, I have an oil for that. Do you need a man? I have an oil. And so my friend Angela, and her name is Angela Hoover. We were on the phone before COVID, and we were supposed to go to lunch. And I said, I can't meet you. I think I'm coming down with a cold. She said, no, you just think you're coming down with a cold. I thought I was coming down with a cold, but I took some sage and I put it underneath my nose. I took some oregano. I put it underneath my tongue. And then I snorted 3 lines of cocaine, and I feel amazing.
That just sounds terrible. That sounds like you're just smelling like pizza sauce all day.
I just wonder, why have they become... You know who's silent during COVID? Married people and oils people. Because where are all the married people with #blessed pictures, right? They're not posting anymore. Just giving a little shout out to all my married couples.
All their cute outings with their family.
Nope.
It's not happening.
They're just stuck in the house together, and nobody's photographing it. Because you're married, and you're married. Yeah. Well, and I live with my ex-husband, so I don't know if that counts. But, I mean, what do you do to get away from your spouse? Like mow the lawn for 3 days?
You have to hide in separate rooms now and then.
Well, I live in L.A. That would mean I have a 2-room house. That's very prestigious. Oh, and running water. You're going to rub that in, aren't you?
Electricity. We've got electricity.
I mean, how do you guys... Well, okay, so I live with my 2 kids, my roommate, and my ex-husband lives in my garage. And I don't normally talk about that on a lot of sitcom. It is, and he's a comedian, but he was helping us move.
This is definitely a sitcom idea.
Yeah, he was helping us move, and then he's like, "I'll just stay around for a week because COVID's dangerous. Him coming back and forth." But he does a lot of stuff around my house, and I got used to having it. Like, he takes out my garbage. You guys are super valuable.
So once you get rid of him.
He, like, screws things in. He, like, fixes the TV. So now my roommate constantly is like, hey, she'll text Ron, hey, can you come in and fix my cable? My cable's out. So he's kind of like handy-manny. Do you know what I mean? So I don't mind having him around. Really. I like him. We're like most married couples. We live in separate rooms. Don't judge people. So, but we homeschool. That's a team sport. I don't know if any of you guys, are you homeschooling?
Yeah, we are now.
Well, everybody homeschools now, but yeah, we've been homeschooling we're hipster homeschoolers. We were doing it before.
Oh, heck no.
Yeah.
I cheated my way through 3rd grade. Like, I learned how to sign her name. I learned how to do her math problems. I learned how to influence her and what to write on the test.
Yeah, it can be pretty easy to do that with the online stuff.
And
not saying I've ever done it. I'm just saying.
So this year we didn't cheat at all, and So to be semi-serious on your podcast for 2 seconds, and then we'll go back. I have a daughter who 10 years ago, and I gave you her DVD. She was born very sick, and she was born with what they said was going to be severe special needs, mental deficiencies, just a lot. She was going to walk with a walker. She was just going to be really sick. And we're people of prayer. And so we were just like, not today, Satan. And so we prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. And it's been an incredible supernatural healing journey. Her name's Ruby. She's 10. She's so healed that she got in trouble for jumping in the boys' bathroom, like over the stalls, which I was like, that's an achievement. You said she wasn't going to walk. You know what I mean? But she was born with a chromosome disorder, and there's no cure for that. But just for anybody who's listening, like, never stop praying, because God never said there's no cure for that. So it's just been a journey. Is she going to pass math? And we put her in regular school. She's in a regular Christian school because God's been healing her brain. And last year, as I was cheating my way through third grade because it was just hard, and this year, her teacher called me on Christmas Day and said, I need to speak to you about your daughter on Christmas Day. That's never good when the teacher calls. And she said, I want to let you know that Ruby has the highest GPA in the whole class, right? So in humility, I made a video for all of social media going, who's the smartest kid in the whole fourth grade? And I did a rap about it to be humble. And she's like, stop it. You're embarrassing me. But I totally became that mom. I don't even care. I became that mom that I hate, that has that, like, my kid's an honor student bumper sticker. Like, I was like, I'm getting a car wrap. This is my kid's better than your kid. But no, it was such a huge achievement. I wrote about her in one of the chapters. But to think that she had been barely passing some grades to having, and I told the teacher, we're not cheating. That was the point of my story. We're not cheating at all. Which is, I know you guys don't think that's a big deal, but it is. It is a big deal. No cheating at all. Like, we didn't even, like, wink at her, and she could spell finally. I can't spell finally. Like, how many ends? How many ends?
One.
The 2 L's. You got to remember the 2 L's.
So now you get
I've
credit.
never misspelled finally in my life.
So now this podcast is heartfelt and funny. So now you get, like, all the moms will listen now because we have a sick kid story in there.
Yeah. We're trying to get the moms.
Do you have the mom? How do you feel? Are you reaching the mom demographic? Because we are
We got a good amount of moms.
We're the decision makers. You
get a
want
lot
the
of-
mommy mafia.
We get a lot of, like, homeschool families that
Yeah.
listen together.
Oh,
yeah,
sweet.
that's interesting.
But I mean,
Those poor children.
if you see,
I feel sorry for your kids right now that are listening.
See, here's what's different about moms today. We're organized and we got Facebook, okay? And that is dangerous for moms to be organized on Facebook because now they can talk to each other. And that all the crazy moms can talk to each other too
There's a lot of them.
and plan things.
Yeah, it's the internet is all you're crazy, but you're always, like, kind of isolated in your crazy.
Yeah, because every
now
town
they all
has
find
one
each
or
other.
two isolated crazy people, but then all those towns, those crazy people find each other.
And you know who also we need to worry about? The Doomsday Preppers. They're organized.
Yeah,
they're
they're organized,
organizing. They're organizing events, shall we say, on Facebook. And I don't know why Facebook thinks that I need to know about them. Do they think
Did you get invited to them? You get the
I
little
do.
event invite.
I like, I don't know if you guys are married. Do you get those Instagram with a handsome I get a handsome man profile who's a doctor in Botswana, and he'll be like, hey, lovely. Like, and that's the whole.
Just it's like a private message.
Yeah, I always write back. But they
Yeah. So it's like a woman who looks like a model and it's just like, hi.
Is that right over like they'll be like, hey there, lovely lady. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. What are they reeling you into there?
I haven't gotten.
Have you ever gone down the path?
No, but I did get asked out by a 22-year-old who was in dental school, which I was very excited about. But then I realized I can't date someone that legally I could be their mom. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, not in Alabama, I could be your mom.
Yeah,
like,
but like-
for real. And he had a skateboard. And I told my daughter, I'm like, Mommy got asked out by a future dentist. She goes, we're not doing Halloween sugar-free. You can't marry a dentist. I'm like,
Yeah, you don't want to be that house that's handing out toothpicks and little toothbrushes.
and the
Well, do you want to be the house that's like, Halloween's demonic, but we're doing it anyway. We're doing it. We're saved by grace.
We've had some people like that at church that are like, Halloween's evil and demonic, but we're going to still hand out candy.
We're going to have a
Candy's okay.
harvest fest.
Yeah. The trunk or treat. We do the trunk or treat.
Yep, we do it. I don't know. We had some good discussions about it. My birthday's on Halloween. And so I felt like it was like a kid that somebody told me Santa wasn't real, and don't even think about telling me Santa's not real. But like as I became a California Christian and got involved in different churches, I grew up Catholic. Everything's demonic in Catholic. We just embrace it, you know? And so when they started to tell me that Halloween wasn't okay and give me these tracts and these books, it's kind of hard to. But the problem is, I was on an airplane with my daughter who was 4 at the time, and she met a yoga teacher. And so the teacher's like, "You're 4. You know, you go to preschool." And she goes, "What do you do?" And the lady goes, "I did yoga." And Lucy's like, "We can't do yoga. My mommy says it's demonic," right? And it's like a 4-hour flight. I'm like, mommy doesn't want to work out. So I think, and then, you know, your homeschool community, right? That word gets thrown around a lot.
Demonic.
I'm sure.
Demonic. Yeah, sure. We're a little less crazy because it's mostly online.
But you can use demonic to get out of anything.
Yeah,
you could be like, you can't watch TV past 7 o'clock. It's demonic.
Yeah, we don't use that much.
Demonic?
Yeah, I got to use it. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But
On our kids.
If you bubble up your kids, the problem is at some point they will go out in the real world and they will realize how much you've been lying.
Yeah.
And then you get in trouble.
Yeah.
And then Child Protective Service just shows up. I'm not saying I know this by fact, but
Yeah, I feel like I caught the tail end of the demonic, like Satan craze. Of,
were you raised that way?
No, but it like we just had the kind of the after effects of it. Like I wanted to go play Dungeons and Dragons, you know.
Demonic.
But my parents didn't really think it was demonic. It was just like, well, we had heard some things decades ago, and I don't know. You know, they were like not sure. And like Harry Potter, it's
Harry
like, well,
Potter.
it's like, well, maybe you can read it. I don't know. We'd rather you read Narnia, but they weren't
Pokemon.
like crazy about it. You know?
Pokemon.
The Pokemon.
They let me do Pokemon. I had Pokemon Blue. I got that my parents bought for me. So
I mean, I'm like old school. I'm like Garbage Pail Kids. Like, I'm sure that would have been Gremlins. My entire generation was demonic. I mean, seriously, there's a lot of drugs. There's a lot of drugs in the 80s. Look at Sesame Street. Like, who thought up Sesame Street that wasn't high? Like,
Look at Jim Henson. He's a total hippie.
Yeah, like there's a bird. He has an imaginary friend who lives in the garbage can because he's hungry. There's a guy who eats cookies all the time. Okay.
Yeah, and Snuffleupagus is definitely some kind of acid trip creature or something.
Yeah, Lewis Carroll didn't end that. Like, definitely Sesame Street picked up the torch.
Yeah. Yeah, when you think back to how strange entertainment was in the 80s.
Have you ever watched 80s cartoons with your kids and see how Jack, like The Last Unicorn? Or The Hobbit, like the original Hobbit cartoon.
that one's bizarre.
Yeah, and like The Last Unicorn ends and there's a vulture and he starts eating animals and like my kids are crying and I was like, suck it up, we did. Like, why is mommy in therapy? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. My dad would have us watch The Secret of Nim.
Yes, I love that.
Dark.
And like the
So
owls
good,
like cranking his head all the way around and munching on rats and you're like,
Do you remember Labyrinth with David Bowie?
I loved Labyrinth.
I've
It's
never
my
seen
kid's
it.
favorite movie. You've never seen Labyrinth?
never seen it.
It's so good.
But-
It's actually so good.
sorry, guys. I keep
It's
hitting this
David
thing.
Bowie as like the demon king and he's like stealing babies.
Yeah.
It's so Christian.
The goblins.
Yes, it's awesome. But my kids are like, I'm like, you can't watch Disney Channel, but Labyrinth is on, you know.
But it probably is less damaging than the Disney Channel.
Kyle, amen, brother. I think the Disney Channel
women,
is
hey,
the
women.
reason this country's in trouble. I really do. I think you got to stop stereotyping, and the kids are always lying to their parents
Yeah, I
in
know.
every episode.
It's demonic.
Yes, it's
We're talking about like Disney sitcoms.
Like
You are not wrong. You
Hannah
are not wrong.
Montana
Yes.
and all that stuff. You know, the little kid sitcoms they do
Yeah.
on Disney Channel.
Yes.
But I do think it's worse than like a movie that's just got some crazy demon thing. You're like, oh, that guy's evil. You know, because it's just kids
Horror
being
movies
bad.
with demonic stuff are always pretty good wholesome entertainment because it's like really black and white about evil is real.
Yeah.
You have to do something about it, and usually it has to be some form of prayer or calling out to God.
Yeah,
You have to have that. You have to go there.
But the problem is
It's
Disney.
unrealistic if you don't.
Disney made some jacked up horror movies in the 80s. And this, I'm dating myself, but we would go to rent the DVDs. Like you had to go to the store to get the DVDs,
remember that,
right?
the
And so
old
my
days,
mom
yeah.
would be like, I got you this Disney movie. It's called Watcher in the Woods. And it's Betty Davis like drowning this girl in a swamp with like a big stick and then bringing her back to life. And her name was Karen, but they would write it backwards on the mirror. I'm so scarred. That's why I think Karens are messed up. Yes, Narek. See, you just did it to me. I'm telling you. That's where that Karen thing got started. It's from Watcher in the Woods from the Disney. It all goes back to Disney, Kyle. You said it here.
It's all connected.
When did Disney start going bad? Because they had like the the Don Knotts movies and stuff like that. And like, at what point did it go? After he died?
70s and 80s, don't you think? I mean, Herbie Rides Again was fine, but I think after Herbie, it went downhill.
Was that before or after the Love Bug?
The Love Bug was first, and then Herbie and my kids, when I try to show them,
and then Herbie Fully Loaded came out.
Oh wait, that doesn't count. That's not canon.
Do you guys try to show, like, do you ever try to show your kids old movies that you thought were cool and they annihilate them?
Yeah.
Like, I showed Lucy Grease, my favorite, like, rom-com, and she's like, oh, I get it. So I need to wear tight leather and smoke cigarettes for a boy to like me. I'm like, no, you need to dance, okay? You need to dance. And then she got all the dirty jokes that were in Grease, like that she's like, so Rizzo missed a period. I'm like, it's a typewriter. She's like, no, she's pregnant. I'm like, how do you know these things? Like, just dance, okay? Just dance. And then, like, I showed, you guys are dudes, but do you remember Pretty in Pink, Molly Ringwald, right? Mm-hmm. So she ends up with, like, the hot guy at the end, but there's always the friend guy, Ducky. Mm-hmm. She's like, why didn't he end up with Ducky? I'm like, this is an argument we've been having for 20 years. Like, women are still upset. We get it. She should have been with John Cryer, So, their rom-coms are weird. I hate them. I hate the new rom-coms. Mm-hmm. I think it needs to go back to girl meets boy, and she leaves the nice guy and dates the idiot, and then rides away.
He just sticks with the idiot?
Yeah, but later she's divorced and unhappy. I mean,
It's implied.
Yeah.
That's the dark sequel that comes out later.
Well, speaking of dark sequel, I'll break some news on your podcast. Sex and the City is doing a reboot.
Everything is.
It's called Less Sex. They're kind of old. Yeah. They are. And then what are they going to do about Samantha? Because Kim Cattrall hates them. And there's a huge war between Sarah Jessica Parker and Kim Cattrall on Twitter. Huge war. So now they're thinking of killing Samantha's character for the reboot. You heard it here on the Babylon Bee. Thank you, homeschool moms.
All right.
I don't understand a word.
Yeah, that was almost like speaking Japanese.
Have you watched Sex and the City?
In my 20s, before I found Jesus, yes.
This is part of your testimony.
That's part of my testimony.
It's like saying you used to deal drugs.
I used to, yeah. I don't have a dramatic testimony. The worst thing I ever did is watch Sex and the City. Yeah.
Did you like the movies?
I did, but it's so funny now that I'm old and cranky. I won't let my daughter watch anything even close to that, and then she'll throw it back in my face. Well, you watched Sex and the City. I was like, that was pre-Jesus, okay? I was finding myself.
Don't bring up my past.
Yeah, my 13-year-old wants to go through something, so she's like, can I start listening to punk rock? And because she's cooped up in the house.
Yeah.
Can I cut my hair? And I go, well, no, you can't listen to punk rock. But here's a Cutlass CD. Here's like Reliant K. She's like, it's not the same, Mom. I'm like, yes, it is. Reliant K's punk,
Have you tried MXPX?
No, are they good?
Yeah, they're good, but they were like what I was allowed to rebel to.
MXPX.
Because they were like Christian, but didn't really say the word
right,
Jesus.
That's what I was trying to be with Reliant K and Cutlass.
Reliant K is a little too inside the Christian. You got to
the bubble.
Because she's comparing it to Green Day and My Chemical Romance.
Right.
So, and then
MXPX is perfect for that because it's I'm rebelling, but they might say the D word like once every couple of records.
Yeah,
you're like, oh yeah, I'm rebelling.
The DA word.
Like she wants to rebel. Like she's dying to rebel, and she's like, "Let me go through something." I'm like, "I just cut your hair." Like, can you really, I feel sorry for Christian kids. I mean, I grew up Christian, but it wasn't like a big issue. But Christian kids today, I think she feels like she can't do any. She is restricted way more. Like she doesn't have a cell phone. She's 13. I don't let her use the internet on her iPad. I'm really mean because I know all the tricks and I've done them all. And I did tell her that we have an implantation in her right molar where we can track her. And she's like, no, you don't. I'm like, try me. Why don't you try me one time?
We don't even need that anymore. Just her phone, you can track her now.
Well, she doesn't have a phone.
Well, iPad?
Yeah. If she travels with the iPad.
Everywhere she goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm past the stage of caring if my kids think I'm cool or not.
How old are your kids again?
12, 10, and 4.
You're right with me because I have 13 and 10. And like the 12-year-old knows everything, right?
Yeah.
Like about everything.
Yeah.
About everything. You want to call NASA and be like, would you harvest their brain? Because they're so smart.
Right. Yeah. He's a little dumb. No, I'm just joking. He's very, no, he knows everything about everything.
And they're never wrong.
Yeah.
Like even when you catch them doing something wrong, they're like, and it's like, she's going to be an incredible lawyer. She wants to be a lawyer. And you can't let them win. Right?
Correct. This is correct.
Right.
Yes. What was I talking about? I was saying something about my kid, and I don't remember.
I heard you say they were dumb.
No.
They don't listen to your podcast, do
It's
they?
true. My wife doesn't even listen to my podcast.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how you can be in the world of entertainment and the people that are closest you do not care?
They don't care.
Right.
I was,
and I think it's good. I think it's healthy.
shameless plug. I did a movie and it was on Amazon and I didn't even know it was on Amazon. And I had a small part, but so during Christmas break, I downloaded the movie for my family. My mother, we were visiting my mother and I played my scene and my mother goes, "Oh." I go, "That's it?" Like not even, "Oh, that's nice." She goes, "Oh." I go, "That's all you have to say?" She goes, "You were in a movie." Like literally. And then my kids were like, "That's cool." Like literally and walked away. But
You just said shameless plug, and then you didn't tell us the name of the movie.
oh, I just wanted to plug that I was in a movie. Let
You don't
people
wanna plug the
figure it
movie?
out. It's called The Brendan Manning Story. It's a Christian movie. Ragamuffin. Did you guys see Ragamuffin? It was the sequel to that. But my kids don't care, but they do care that I know famous people. Like then
yeah.
they care. Like I know I knew
Depends,
the
right?
Jonas
Has to be.
Brothers back in
Okay.
the day.
Yeah, I took my kids to like hang out with Henry Winkler.
Oh,
And they had no clue who he was.
my gosh,
They
you met
couldn't
the
care less.
Fonz.
Like,
Stop right now. You met the Fonz.
Yeah.
Was he amazing?
super, really,
I'm
really nice guy.
obsessed with him.
He
Very-
illustrated his book. That's
Yeah.
why.
He has
Have you
children's
seen-
books.
Have
I
you
drew
seen the
his last two
dancing
books.
videos of him lately? He's been dancing on the
TikTok
internet.
and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so speaking of TikTok, my daughter was like, "You should go on TikTok." And I go, "There's predators." She goes, "Mom, you're not exactly what the predators are looking for." How do you guys
Predator for everything.
How do you feel about TikTok? Because I don't sort of hate it. I do hate it, like with everything inside of me.
I'm kind of fascinated by it.
I
Not that I
don't
love
get
it,
it.
but I'm fascinated by what it's trying to do, and then like how horrible it is for your brain.
Well, it's horrible for anyone that tries to put out produced content
Right.
in another place, because all of my friends that have tried to transition to TikTok, we have a competition. Like I'm winning. I have 21 followers on TikTok. But you could
I have
eat
50.
You could eat an apple wearing a thong and be a middle-aged mom and have 4 million, or be like, my cat just died, make this go viral, and then it goes viral. So I am fascinated by it.
Yeah, that fascinates me.
And then I'm fascinated by the hey, he's my grandpa. No, he's really my dad, and they're dancing together videos. Like I'm fascinated by all of these concoctions of entertainment, but as an entertainer, it's insulting. Do you know what I'm saying?
All right, that some rando's just in his bedroom and he's like, "Meh, meh,
Yeah,
meh."
and he's
And
going to get a
just-
sitcom.
and-
Like
yeah.
he will clearly get a sitcom on
Yeah.
NBC.
Right. And that you're just producing content for this site because no one's ever going to leave TikTok and go see your thing.
And what does it mean that you have a million TikTok? It's
Right, you
not
can't do anything with
monetized.
it.
Yeah, you
can't
can't
do
make
anything
any
with
money
it.
on TikTok.
Because
right?
all anyone's ever going to do is be like, "Oh, that's funny." Like next video, they're never going to go like, "I'm going to go."
I guess they might like subscribe to your Patreon or something.
Okay, so
I
I'm
don't think
dumb
so.
enough to go to Instagram and try to follow them. They don't have followers on Instagram. It's a weird.
Yeah, you're
little
producing
world.
content for them, so TikTok can make money.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of people that go, and if you do, excuse me, but it reminds me of people that go to Renaissance fairs every year. Do you go?
Do tell.
Are you laughing, Kyle?
I've been to Renaissance.
It's a world of its own, and they have a hierarchy, and they have cool people, and they're all within the world of each other, and they eat the turkey bones, and they slay each other, and they don't care what the world thinks, because within the Renaissance world,
yeah.
they have each other. And that's how I feel about TikTok, except they're growing, and there's going to be more of them than us.
yeah, yeah.
We're all going to be
TikTok
thrown in the
makes me feel-
TikTok gulag.
Oh,
a
wait, you
real
guys, I have
old
an
man.
idea, political idea. All the people on Parler that are getting shut out should go on TikTok.
Turn TikTok into the conservative.
I think all the conservatives
bizarre.
should start infiltrating TikTok with our conservative TikToks.
I think
We have a tough time staying within like the 1 minute boundary or whatever it is. TikTok.
You are not wrong. Are you
Here's
on?
the 37 points of how Donald Trump is really secretly winning the election.
I was on Parler for one day, and then I was like, I'm bored.
Yeah, I have a tough time on Parler. I can't even
designed very
figure out what the feed is, or that's weird.
It makes you work too hard. You have to find people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's poorly designed. And it's just the problem with any social media. Until you have the critical mass of people, no one's going to use it. You could have the best program in the world.
Yeah.
And they don't. So
I think I'm going to stay with the heathens on Facebook. I feel like my people are Instagram. Instagram's for people that can't read. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they just post a photo. Those are my people. And I love food. So I feel like every time you have a guest on the podcast, you should go through their Instagram because you can tell a lot about a person by what they follow. It's not, don't look at what they post. Look at what they follow.
Yeah.
Mine is all slow cookers. Everything is, because I was on that COVID diet, the whole body challenge, which is how much food am I eating in my whole body every day? Like how much food can I load up? So I've been eating like a Wisconsin, like a Midwest, the way I was raised, which is like, let's put spaghetti and cheese and sausage in a crock pot and then bake it.
just see what happens.
Cover it in cheese.
Everything's covered in cheese.
Yeah. All got to hold it together.
I feel like by the time I discover a social network, it's already like the kids have left it. You know, like I'm old. I'm at that age where I'm like, TikTok, interesting, and now they've already found something else that I don't know about yet.
Yes, I never did I never did Snapchat. I missed that completely.
Me completely too.
Because I figured I didn't need a unicorn horn to be pretty. Like I was like, if you're a single girl and you're trying to meet guys and you're like, it'd be great if I look like a donkey. So then you're meeting at the coffee shop and the guy's looking for a donkey, right? So that's
He's
why
a total freak. He's like, oh yeah, where's that donkey?
He's like, she's a fairy godmother. It says on our profile, So I don't know. I think Facebook should stay around because all my baby pictures are on there of my kids, and I didn't do scrapbooks. I just tagged them. Yeah. I'm just like, I cared about you. Look it.
Yeah, we had the scrapbook for I think our first.
And then
I don't think we did it.
But wait, Kyle, here I'm gonna hook you up. Facebook has this thing where they will capture your year and they will mail you a book.
Really?
For real. Yeah. So and then now they have one that they capture the decade. And so you could go in there and see what your decade looks like. It's all pictures of food and my kids. That's all it is.
Yeah, I always kept really well. Every year I'd make a photo book for our family of all the pictures from our phones. And I just realized that I haven't done that in the last 3 years. I got catching up to do.
And by the way, they have services that will do it for you. So it's so easy now.
Yeah. I'm a graphic designer and stuff, so I'm picky. So it drives me nuts to just auto-generate. But I do let it auto-generate, then I go in and tweak it. But.
If you could see the calendar I made my dad for Christmas, you would be appalled at me. I did a picture calendar with no graphic design skills whatsoever.
A lot of Comic Sans and
just a lot of emojis.
Lots of
love
gradients.
you, Dad.
Yeah, the reflecting water effect.
I know. I just feel like people with graphic design skills, does it bother you to see all the horrible things that are out there?
It's only if it's my stuff. I get kind of, I'm not like that. I'm not one of those type of people that gets angry about that kind of stuff.
I'm always late. Kyle, I said I'm late to the party with technology. Yeah. I discovered GIFs a few years ago, way after everybody. Yeah. So a good solid 6 months, I only communicated in GIFs. Yeah. And I would get kicked off mom's clubs all the time because they would be fighting, and I'd be like, I'm going to post the GIF eating popcorn now, or I have so much joy in GIFs. If we just communicate in GIFs, I'd be happy.
Yeah, that's how I am with emojis. I just recently discovered them. I'm like, hey, smiley, sad, crying.
See?
I never used emojis till I met the Babylon Bee guys, and they all use them a ton. So,
and we're like a decade behind.
The worst confession ever is I thought LinkedIn was called Lindakin for the long. For real, I didn't even know what it was. And I was like, what's that Lindakin thing? It's all the kids are doing it. I'm so lame. I'm not even I feel like I'm too young for LinkedIn. I'm too old for TikTok. So I'm Instagram all the way. Here's what I had for lunch, people.
We were watching Cobra Kai, and my 14-year-old daughter.
Oh my gosh, best show ever.
There's a scene where the kid is teaching, I can't remember any of the names, the blonde-haired instructor, main character.
Johnny.
He's teaching the kid, Miguel. Kid. Okay, yeah. He's teaching him how to use Facebook. And my daughter's
I was teaching Johnny.
So unrealistic. He wouldn't be on Facebook, the kid. He's the high schooler.
Oh, I know. They're all on.
So I let my 13-year-old watch season 1 of Cobra Kai. I'm just confessing this to all the homeschool moms. And so I let her watch season 1 of Cobra Kai. And we were at Knott's Berry Farm this summer. They shut the park down, but they had a food tasting. So, of course, I went and took my children's lives in their hand. It was all food, no rides, which is my favorite theme park ever.
Like the most.
It's like the best thing ever. No, you had a ticket and you would go to the booth and they would contactless give you all these food tastings.
Okay.
So she got in a fight with the 10-year-old and she used a expletive word that I've never heard come out of her mouth. And I mean, have you seen the movie Christmas Story where the boys, I was getting a bar of soap and like shoving it in her mouth. I'm like, where'd you learn that? And I'm like, Cobra Kai. So I could have grounded her for 6 weeks, but the worst thing I did is like, no more Cobra Kai. And she's still so angry. But then I was like, I secretly want to let her watch it because she's super into the story, but I can't because the language is atrocious.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
True.
But
that's what I was just thinking that,
like,
because my 10-year-old's been, or he's 11 now. He's been watching it, and I was like thinking, he's not imitating it. Good job. As long as you keep that up, you can keep watching.
They can't watch anything. She learned her first swear word from Goonies.
Yeah, Goonies is pretty bad.
I know.
Back in the 80s, yeah, that's the thing. A lot of the movies for kids, they'd sneak all this stuff in there. Like, why?
I don't even know if it was sneaking, right? It was
just
sneaking.
It was just like, that was part of what they did. And even every like R-rated movie had to have some kind of sex scene, just even completely out of place, or just a naked woman pops up randomly.
And if you ever watch those old like 80s movies that we were really, really young, but they stayed around, like the John Candy movies and the Dan Aykroyd, they're super dirty. Like I watched Summer Rental with them, and there's like total, I don't know how that got a PG rating in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, Ghostbusters has like, well, probably can't even say it on this podcast.
Have I said a lot of things on this podcast I'm going to get in trouble for?
Oh, you've been good.
I said that I watch Cobra Kai. Are you going to get hate mail for that?
We're going to bleep out cocaine. But other than that, you're good.
I didn't say I did cocaine.
No, I know.
My friend did.
But you said the word cocaine. We can't say it.
Oh, that's like home. I was telling you.
I'm just joking. We can leave it in. Leave it in.
Have you ever had a guest that you got like massive?
Like hate for?
Well, just I'm saying it was like so over the edge.
The most upset people get, our audience gets really upset about Trump stuff, right? So like
Trump bashing.
Because we had Jonah Goldberg on, and he's not a big Trump fan, so we got a lot of hate for that.
See, the thing that I like to do is if I ever had any sort of altercations, like my brother is a very, very liberal, agnostic social worker in San Diego, and we got in some sort of, when you're an adult with your siblings and years go by and you don't have a fight, you just have some like raging fight. We had this raging fight a few years ago over nothing, but I think it was 20 years of pent up energy. And the worst thing at the end, I go, and by the way, I voted for Trump, right? And it was just like his head exploded. It was like he starts spinning. Like it was like, I feel like if there's one thing you could say to just put the anchor in the coffin of something, I'm a Trump supporter, and my neighbors would. I mean, I could not tell my neighbors in LA.
Oh,
you cannot tell the neighbors because they have all the signs, and I'm sure there's some sort of like button they would push and my house explodes. Like I'm sure.
They've already got
and they're like, and your insurance has nothing. Yeah, I can't.
You need to move down by me.
I know. I think
we have Trump block parties.
Seriously?
In my neighborhood. Yeah.
Well, my parents live in Georgia, so I know what that's like. But so my brother, I mean, seriously, with families today, my mother had to bribe him for Christmas. We traveled. We're evil people. But so we went to see my parents, and she said, if you say one word, Mark, one word, there's no Santa for you. And he's like 35, but he's like, okay. But no, seriously, she was like, don't say, and the whole thing is, it'll upset your father. It's going to upset your father. But families are being torn apart.
Yeah.
I mean, he turned on CNN. I thought my mom was going to lose her mind. Like, we don't get CNN here. Get that Fox News back on. And now that's even evil. That's demonic. You want to talk about demonic? Now it's Newsmax. But yeah, but now lately, I don't know when this is going to air. My friends that are uber Trump supporters and uber, like, it's not over. Like, he's got, like, I get a lot of YouTube videos. And this is my favorite one. I got one, and there was this guy, and he goes, I just want to let you know. And he's in a private jet. This is just yesterday, and you guys are going to have to look it up. Trump is going to be your president for 4 more years. I have some very high intel meetings. And I go, oh my gosh, Tage, this is amazing. Is he a prophet? And she goes, no, he's the My Pillow guy. He's the My Pillow guy.
We had him on.
We had him on this podcast.
So he's meeting. Well, you can edit that out, but he's doing videos.
Yeah, no, I've
saying
seen it. That's okay,
the one in the plane, right?
Right.
I thought it was like
I didn't
Dutch
see that,
Sheets or
but-
somebody. I thought it was like,
He's a wild character.
He is a character.
how did you get him on? Is he
We
Christian?
just emailed him and said, "You want to come on?"
Oh my gosh, that's amazing! Was he awesome?
He was the absolute most wildest interview we've ever had.
But how
the
is he?
unfortunate thing-
How is he telling me Trump's going to be president and he's got some high intel meetings?
I think there's just a fervor of people that, because we have a buddy, Doug Tenaple. He started on his YouTube channel. He started only talking about Trump will win and talking about all that kind of stuff, like secret things about how
Right,
Trump will win.
right.
His YouTube channel shot from 2,000 subscribers to 300,000.
But wait, you guys, what if he is secretly a spy and he's a secret KGB agent and then he secretly knows a bunch of stuff that we don't know? The pillow guy.
My pillow
Secretly.
guy.
And the pillow thing is a front
Yeah, he
What
kills
if it's a
people.
front?
Pillow murderer.
for his.
We asked him about that. We asked him if his pillows could be used to kill people, and he said, "No, they're very breathable."
But wait, wasn't there a spy movie about that guy in the 70s who hosted the Gong Show, but he was secretly a spy? Do you guys remember that movie?
I'm
It
not
came
old
out-
enough. Didn't know that.
Yeah, so maybe my pillow.
Missed that in history class.
But my friends are sending me some really select YouTube videos right now.
yeah,
That's
I'm
all
getting a
gonna
lot of
say.
that. My mother-in-law was at the Capitol. She sent me all this stuff about Antifa and all this. Yeah.
I mean, I am openly a Trump. I am openly a conservative. I am openly a Republican. But some of my kids' friends, my friends, have taken the wagon, pulled off, went into a forest, and never to be found again. Like they're so off the wagon.
Right.
And I don't want to offend them by saying I don't agree with, because I've already offended all my liberal friends. So I'm stuck in a bubble with 4 people. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
And they're all
Yeah.
in this room.
Yeah, and we're all just you guys, don't we just have our heads down? We're like, write it out. Just write it out. Just write it out. Mario
yeah.
Murillo says it's going to be okay. I mean, there's 2 people I
mean-
listen to.
I'm listening to the My Pillow guy, so I'm on his side.
I cannot believe that you guys know him and
had
that
him
he was on my
yeah.
YouTube.
The rough thing about it is, his connection was terrible. And the guy
was-
making so much money,
He's
right?
like a billionaire, and he's talking to us on his iPad, walking around and it's
1G or something. It's just like,
staring up at his nostrils. It was wonderful.
yeah, it's like talking to your old uncle.
Can you
Yes.
can you tell us? Can you give us some advice on how to act on soap operas?
Yeah. You have to learn. You have to learn really big words, because when I was on General Hospital, the actresses were having trouble, and the director would literally come down. He's like, "Jessica, the word is the." Okay, the word, and she's like, I just can't. And then my favorite was the crew, because they'd been there 20 years. They're all chain smoking. They're like, "Is it 5 yet? Is it 5?" And then it was sort of a grind, but yet I was perky and 22 and happy to be there. But then the huge difference is working with Jay Leno, and when you work on a comedy set. And I have lots of juicy gossip about him, but he's just delightful. He wears the same shirt every single day to work.
Wait. All this juicy gossip will be in our subscriber portion coming up shortly.
Okay.
up
So,
soon.
I mean, well, they're quirky things. Like, he wears the same denim shirt and the same denim pants, but he has 10 pairs, but it's the same exact, because he's superstitious. He's never spent a dime of his Tonight Show money because he thinks he's going to go broke. So he only
Really?
spends money. And when my dad
You
met
have like
him,
a paper route on the side?
yeah. Well, he does stand up for 150 grand a night,
does
so I
Uber
think
Eats.
he's okay. So my dad met Jay Leno
All
when
those
I
6,000 cars.
Right. When I was 12, and he goes, my daughter wants to come to LA. Can I have your autograph? So he wrote me a note, and it says, to Kerri, come to LA. We'll make movies. Love you, Jay. So it was a great story of coming of age. But he's so nice. He's just so incredibly nice. But back to my point, the set on that show, here's some more juicy gossip. When the strike happened.
We were trying to save this for the subscriber portion, and you keep.
Well, when do I tell the juicy gossip?
You can tell now.
You can tell me.
When the strike happened back in 2008, and the writer strike, and there was a lot of strike, Jay Leno said, I will give my salary to the crew so that we keep, these are, and so you would go on the set, and they would not tell you who the guest stars would be, but if you were nice to the hair and makeup people, who are always in a good mood, another thing about Jay is he shakes everyone's hand every single day. Every single day he says, Jay, yeah, we know you. We know who you are. You're Jay Leno. But he shakes your hand and says, thanks for being here. But there were a couple times where in my dressing room one day was going to be JFK Jr. He was coming at 1 and my segment was at 11. And I just happened to be hanging around the clock. You know what I'm saying? I just happened to be on the couch. But you never knew who was going to walk through that door. It could be John Travolta. Yeah. I met John Travolta and I did the same thing that I did to you when you asked me for the headlines. He was like, hello, how are you? And I was like, like nothing. But but it was just a joyous, that's why I love comedy. The crew is laughing. Everybody's laughing. One of my first sketches, I played a Jerry Springer contestant, and we had to do a fist fight with each other, this girl, Dahlia, and I. And we were just really enthusiastic about being on the show. And so she pulled my hair, throws me off the chair. We go into a full roll around fight, like a real fight.
Yeah.
And then Jay Leno was on set. They're like, print it, take 1, we're fine. And then like I still have the scar on my ankle from her heel because we were like so excited. But just a completely different vibe, shall I say, from doing the heavy drama But the food is really good on the soap opera sets, but the actors can't eat it. So.
Oh, yeah, you can't eat that.
No, but it's really funny because they want actors to be skinny, but the food on sets is like, donuts and hoagies. And I mean, I might have gotten caught putting some in my purse. When you're a starving actor, you're like, these are real Subway sandwiches wrapped. I'm taking them.
So as in like, I mean, you're openly Christian and conservative. You have that, because I know in Hollywood, because I've done some work in Hollywood, like there's the relationship before they realize you're that, and then sometimes you kind of like realize, oh, they know now. Or have you ever had that shift, or do you have good relationships in Hollywood that fully know you in that space and like it's totally open, and even though they completely disagree, like I feel like that's the hardest thing to find in that culture. It's like it's very, if you don't think like we do, then just either be quiet or. I don't know. I've
had to turn down things. My daughter, my little girl, got offered a sitcom and an Academy Award winning movie, and we turned both of them down. And the sitcom was produced by Ron Howard, and it wasn't even real. It didn't end up. It was a juicy gossip. It was Sarah Silverman was doing a sitcom, and Lucy was going to play the daughter. And it wasn't overtly dirty, but the first 3 pages were enough that we were like,
Sarah Silverman.
And just to be open on your podcast, every single time she would get cast for something, it was always like the daughter of the gay couple. And I have no problem with her playing the daughter, but I was like, I see where this is going. And she was like 4 or 5. She was a child auditioning at the time. And so when we turned them down enough times, the agency dropped her because and then one time I was in talks to get my own sitcom, and they loved this character I was doing, the Christian girl. And they're like, we want for episode 1, this is true. We want you to get a boob job. We want you to get a boob job. And then we'll put it on the show. And then it'll be like, am I still Christian? And I really wanted them to pay for my breast enlargement. But
that's hilarious. That really speaks to things that we Christians would actually do. So
yes, I mean, it's just so real. Yeah. Don't you notice when Christians are on TV, they're the biggest dumblewits, like pastors? Like that movie with Tobey Maguire was playing the pastor, and the one where her son flatline, and Chrissy Metz had to bring him back.
No idea.
But they just don't represent them in the greatest light, and they don't know how to write Christian characters. But so I've had to turn more things down, and then they'll say, or one time I was at the Hollywood Improv and I prayed before a meal, and I was meeting with some bigwig producers, and later the guy goes, that was really out there. I go, what? You know how you like prayed before the meal? Like that was really risky what you did there. And I was like, what? So I've had those, but more so, I've been sitting in a Sony studio pitching a film, and they'll go, I love what she does, that talk to the God. I go, prayer? Yeah.
Like talk to the God
you
thing.
Should try it. And then God will open a really cool door. So more so on the positive side, I think I've just had a long history of saying no to things. But I feel like God has kept me there because there's a lot of heartbreak. And I could get on a soapbox for another episode about how many, quote, professing Christians are doing non-Christian material, but yet they're still professing Christians in the public and in the PR. So then what I say to my friends is, well, you just did that and you just said that. And there's kids that look up to you and are saying, well, she's a Christian and she just got naked in that movie. Or she's doing these TV shows that are compromising, but yet they'll go on press junkets and be like, well, Jesus all the time. I think you can get away with that if you're a rapper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a lot.
Like a football player, but... And I've behind the scenes, I'm like, do you realize what you're doing? And they'll say, well, I had to do it. It was for the show, or I had to do it. So I'd like to end my career someday that God will look at me and I didn't do anything, compromising because I had to. Like there's no really raunchy pictures out there on the internet because any pictures I took were before the internet. So it's fine. Aren't you glad? Well, you grew up social media, right? Your whole time?
No.
Both of you guys probably?
No.
Internet came out when I was in high
I
school.
got MySpace like first year of college. It was like MySpace.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was around the time.
I want to dig up my MySpace profile. I think it'd be pretty good.
They're all gone.
Dang it.
Tom nuked them all.
MySpace is gone.
Tom nuked. Well, you can. MySpace exists, but they accidentally nuked all the old. They were like, "Oh, we were moving servers. We deleted everybody's old photos."
Really?
I think they did
So
on
you can't
purpose.
even,
What
like,
if it
way
happens
back
to Facebook? Our kids are screwed.
I know. Better start scrapbooking.
Isn't everything on the internet like permanent now or something?
Well, yeah, like usually the Wayback Machine, you can go find it, but I guess whatever they did, you can't
What if
find
the
it.
Wayback Machine blows up?
I know. Then it's gonna work out.
Do you guys ever, I mean, this sounds really pretentious. I don't know if I do it on purpose, but if you've ever Googled your name, if you ever put your name in Google.
Constantly.
He's got a programmed Twitter search that always
Okay.
tells him.
There is some jacked up stuff that there's a thing called Wiki Feet. It's a Wikipedia thing for celebrity feet.
You made it on there?
Yes, thank you. But
I'm not
there's
on there.
some
Pull that up, Jamie.
weird,
No, I'm just kidding.
And then there's a photo of me on the street. There's a photo of me standing in front of a store. It's Wiki Feet.
Your feet are in the picture?
Yeah. Look it up, people. Look it up.
zoomed in.
Put it in the show notes. Or there'll be a headshot of me on eBay and it's on sale for $4 and no one's bid on it. You're not even my mom, but no, there's some weird stuff. I think the longer you're in entertainment, there's some stuff but I married a comic, so my proposal was online because he proposed to me in the middle of my comedy act to the theme from Dirty Dancing, which was pretty epic. Even to this day, I like that. But no, there's a lot of stuff that you just have to, and you can't touch. I can't call the Wiki Feet people and be like, thank you for this big honor.
Did he catch you like the Dirty Dancing?
We did the dance for
Really?
real. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
When we got divorced, I was afraid that I was going to be scarlet lettered by everyone in the Christian. I really was very, very afraid. And so I went and made everything private, but it was almost too difficult because there was so much of it. We toured together. We toured for millions of people. And now that we're such good friends, he tapes my videos. I do these videos called Cooking with My Ex. And so he's the camera guy and he never comes on camera. But I'm always like, and my ex-husband's filming. But people that have followed me for a long time, they know Ron. And we did not have an angry divorce. It was more like sad. So I just threw my hands in the air. It's been 6 years now. And I'm like, if my divorce offends you, you probably don't want to hire me, But I don't support divorce. I think divorce is horrible. And God has a funny way. I prayed when we got divorced. I said, please don't hurt my kid. Not that God would hurt my kids, but I said, please don't let my kids hurt. This is not their fault. And God heard my prayer. And now my ex-husband's living in my garage. So
Who's doing better than who?
And not paying rent. Crushing it. Thank you, TikTok.
All right, well, we're going to break to the subscriber lounge where we're going to get some more juicy gossip and
behind the
feet
scenes.
pictures. So here we go.
We're all going to pose our feet.
Coming up next for Babylon Bee subscribers.
Oh, do you want to hear about when I first met Kirk Cameron?
Yeah.
Yes, we absolutely.
I can tell stories. Okay, and so I was supposed to red carpet. I'm going to get in trouble, but anyway, I was supposed to red carpet, and do the
Definitely.
interview, the whole.
The unexpected, that guy's high.
Enjoying this hard-hitting interview? Become a Babylon Bee subscriber to hear the rest of this conversation. Go to babylonbee.com/plans for full-length, ad-free podcasts. Kyle and Ethan would like to thank Seth Dillon for paying the bills, Adam Ford for creating their job, the other writers for tirelessly pitching headlines, the subscribers, and you, the listener. Until next time, this is Dave D'Andrea, the voice of the Babylon Bee.